NBC Sports presents the National Football League. Today, it's the New England Patriots versus the Pittsburgh Steelers.
This afternoon, two teams that are coming off disappointments match up as it's week number 3 of the NFL season, and it's a very warm and humid afternoon in Pittsburgh. Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to Three Rivers Stadium. I'm Joel Myers, alongside Dan Hampton. And Dan, last week the New England Patriots shut out by the Cleveland Browns 20-0, and some question going into this afternoon's matchup as to who was going to be their starting quarterback.
Well, when Tommy Hodson was named the starter by Coach Dick McPherson over Hugh Millen, it was supposed to be for the entire season. But after last week's disappointing loss, hey, Tommy Hodson doesn't have the job. And also, this week he waited until Wednesday to name Hodson the starter for the Pittsburgh game. So I think he's trying to do two things. One, give the offense some stability by keeping Hodson in there, but also sending a message saying, hey, this isn't your job all year. You've got to play well.
Steelers gave up 52 points to the Buffalo Bills last week, and in the process, 6 touchdown passes against a very stingy secondary last year.
Well, I think Pittsburgh was very embarrassed last week, and maybe more disappointed than anyone was Joe Green, the defensive line coach. He said, hey, we're never going to be any more than a mediocre football team unless the players realize this isn't a big party. We have got to show up each and every week. We have got to be able to play good defense every time we go out.
Opening toss, the Steelers receive. Rod Woodson to the end zone as we are underway at Three Rivers Stadium. And a touchback for one of the very best in the NFL at bringing back kicks. So a positive start if you're a New England Patriot fan, because you didn't give Woodson that opportunity to bring it out. Jackson, Blankenship, Dawson, Hasselrig, and Ilkin. Hasselrig, his first year as a starter. If you're going to attack that front, it's the two guards for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Hodge and Foster in the backfield. When they go to the deuce, Lips and Stone start, but Stone will depart. And the extra tight end comes in, Eric Green, joining Mike Mularkey. So 1st and 10 for the Steelers. When you talk about their defense, it's a pride factor. Their offense didn't dazzle anybody anyway last week, though. Barry Foster did, and there's the quick pass to Louis Lips. Close to the first down marker. But last week, besides those 9 rushes for 121 yards for Barry Foster, they stuttered a lot offensively in Buffalo. Defensively, this is the best part of the New England Patriot defensive unit, and maybe the best part of their entire team, anchored by 2-time Pro Bowler Andre Tippett, the outside linebacker, and also that acquisition from Dallas, Eugene Lockhart. Secondary, plenty of experience when you look at Ronnie Lepet and the free safety, Fred Marion. So they do get the first down on the reception to Louis Lips. Galloway goes in motion on the wham play, and Barry Foster diving for about 4 after the 34-yard line. Now, New England is anticipating a number of rushing plays from Barry Foster and the Pittsburgh Steelers, so they will implement their Cougar defensive alignment. Chris Singleton will depart. They will put an extra down lineman in, which will be Andre Tippett, normally a linebacker, and the extra D-back will be Jerome Henderson. So it looks like a 4-2-5 alignment for New England on many of those rushing plays for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Followed a 2nd and a long 6 situation. Ball at the 34-yard line with Foster out of the backfield in motion. Pressure coming. Tippett close to Brister, who unloads it. And it's taken in by Dwight Stone. Well, Ronnie Lepet almost came up with the ball. Dwight Stone, they're calling the reception good, and Lepet can't believe it at the 37, near the 38-yard line.
Well, you see here, Pittsburgh Steelers were trying to run a little play action, trying to keep the New England Patriots off balance. Number 56, Tippett comes in, forcing Brister back to his right, throws a little off balance. Looks like a reception. They don't like it so well up in New England, though.
The Browns worked over the corners to the Patriots pretty well last week. Ronnie Lepet and Mickey Washington. Darrell Fullington is going to see plenty of time for the strong safety Harry Coleman as well. Johnny Greer is our referee.
You'll see, the question is whether or not he caught the ball or trapped it there. It probably looks like a trap. I would have to think that.
It looks like Ronnie Lepet's got a good reason to be upset.
Exactly, and this is the thing. If they let it stand, there's not enough evidence.
One of the more excitable ones on the sideline in the NFL in his first season with the New England Patriots, Dick McPherson. After 10 years, the head coach at Syracuse University, and so much success for the Orangemen, taking the Orangemen to bowl games 5 of the last 6 years. So now 3rd and short. Fell at 3rd and a little bit better than 2, almost 3. Time for Brister. And he's got Eric Green, the large one. The tight end across the 47, near the 48-yard line where he's put down by Mickey Washington. But that pocket really held up for Bubby Brister.
Well, Brister has to have good protection today. The New England front is very, very good, so that's a key to watch all day. Brister going back, sitting there, firing against the zone defense. On 3rd and 2, New England expecting a run, but the Steelers trying to keep him off balance, coming with just a quick hitch by the receiver.
5 catches as we get ready and go into week number 3 for Eric Green. And so much expected of Eric Green, and maybe a little bit too much pressure. Maybe they were trying to focus too much of the offense on Eric Green as Brister is throwing, and it's taken in inside the 40, but flags are down on the play. Now, was it a penalty coming up? Yes, I believe so. Delay of game against Pittsburgh, so that'll nullify that reception by Eric Green.
Well, there, Green gets his 2nd catch of the game, nullified by the penalty, but I think that's what Pittsburgh has to do. They have to come out, and if they're going to throw the ball, 12 men on the field, offense, still first down.
Good reason the play worked.
Well, I tell you, it's kind of easy to get somebody open when you have an extra receiver out there. But the thing is, I think Eric Green is going to play a big part today because the first 2 weeks he hasn't really got on track. He's caught 5 balls, a lot for most tight ends, but for an offense like the Steelers, I think the Steelers have built their offense around Green, and they have to have him very integrally involved with the offense for it to be effective.
So now it's going to be 1st and 15. The ball outside of the Steelers' 42-yard line. First 3.5 minutes of play at Three Rivers. Barry Foster trying to get to the outside. Breaks into the secondary and is barely pulled down by Harry Coleman, the strong safety. He is just short of the first down.
On the left, on the top of the line, away from us right now, will go ahead and hook the outside linebacker, dip it, allowing Foster to turn the corner. Now, if you give Barry Foster much of a crack, he's going to make 8. Last week, I think he averaged over 7 yards on just 11 rushes. Here you'll see it. Tippett hooked here. 29 has a lot of room there. That is what the Steelers want to do. Throw a little bit to get them soft and then run the ball outside, inside, wherever they have to.
2nd and 1 in New England territory. Brister throwing at a big cushion for Louis Lips on the far side. You cannot give Louis Lips 5-6 yards on a quick turnaround. That's what they were working with, though, on Maurice Hurst, who is going to see plenty of time, as Mickey Washington was worked over pretty well last week. Louis Lips working on Hurst, who's in his 3rd year out of Southern University. But again, going back to what Buffalo did, and don't forget Buffalo last week in pounding that offensive line of the Pittsburgh Steelers. They were working without Wright and Bruce Smith up front on the defensive front 4.
I think one of the question marks coming in was how well will this Pittsburgh Steelers offensive line play against a very fine New England front. So far, so good for the Steelers.
1st and 10 at the 34-yard line. Brister going for the bundle as Stone got all tangled up with Maurice Hurst. They'll bring up 2nd and 10. Now, last week, Bubby Brister had problems with his receivers just getting off the line of scrimmage, and one player in particular was Dwight Stone, who's their smallest wide receiver, as the Buffalo corners were jamming those players at the line of scrimmage, almost negating any possibility of getting into a pattern.
Well, Brister threw that ball a little bit too hard, almost completely out of play, but the thing is, Stone has got to be able to beat the jam. Now, we talk about the jam. We're talking about the cornerback coming up, rolling up late in the snap count of the quarterback, being able to keep the receiver on the line. There, Brister did the smart thing, throwing it away.
2nd and 10 from the 34. Barry Foster not going anywhere. Brent Williams got him almost as soon as he took the handoff from Bubby Brister. Good surge by the defensive front for the New England Patriots as they penetrated that offensive line. We broke down a lot of film yesterday of the offensive line of the Pittsburgh Steelers, and it was a shaky day for them against the Buffalo Bills. Granted, they were playing catch-up most of the afternoon, but even with Smith and Wright out of there, they could not keep the Bills out of their own backfield.
Well, I think the guys that have to play well today are the interior people. Blankenship, the center, Damani Dawson, Carlton Hasselrig, number 77, the right guard. They did not play the way they are capable of playing against Buffalo last week. If they can play and bounce back this week, they'll be a lot more effective on offense.
Warren Williams comes into the backfield. On 3rd and long out of the shotgun, Brister with time, going for the wide receiver over the middle as he wanted Ernie Mills, the rookie from Florida, and threw it into double coverage. He really forced it a little bit to that receiver. Did he look off the primary, Dan?
Brister's biggest problem is when he's in the shotgun here, he eyeballs. You'll see he's looking right down the seam there, throwing it into triple coverage. Fred Marion makes a great play coming across from the other side, but therein is the biggest problem with Brister. He's a big, strong guy. A lot of people like him on this offense, but they'd like him a lot more if he didn't eyeball the receivers. He's got to be able to look the safeties off.
49-yard attempt for Gary Anderson. He's 6 of 7 on the year. Flags down to the play. Plenty of leg into that one for Anderson. Now will the penalty go against New England. It was 4th and better than 5, so even a 5-yard mark off. They'll keep the points on the board. As Pittsburgh gets 3 on their first series of the afternoon, it is offside. It'll be declined, and the Steelers with a 49-yard field goal.
Defense, the penalty declined. Field goal is good.
So there is a timeout on the field. 9:04 left in the first 15 minutes of play, and Brister in the offense produced 3 for the Steelers. He was upset when he came off the field talking it over with former Jets head coach and the offensive coordinator for the Steelers, Joe Walton. Fred Marion, the safety, the longtime safety for the Patriots, told us if there's one thing you can get Bubby to do, it's force things. Try to make the big play on his own.
Well, New England did a pretty good job of stopping the Steelers down there late in the drive because Bubby went up top trying to get some things that he shouldn't be trying to get this early in the game.
John Vaughn, Michael Timpson back deep. And neither will be able to bring this one out. Vaughn is second best in the NFL in kickoff returns, averaging better than 24 yards a try over the first 2 weeks. The young man from Michigan will not have a chance there. Offensively, a question mark when you talk about the offensive line. They've got a lot of confidence, though, in that rookie on the right side, the tackle Pat Harlow from Southern California. And joining Tommy Hodson in the backfield, another rookie, Leonard Russell, with Ivy Joe Hunter, Plan B signing from the Indianapolis Colts. Irving Fryer, looking like the Irving Fryer of old. McMurtry, the other wideout. Marv Cook, the tight end. When they go to the diamond, the extra wide receiver comes into the contest, and it's Michael Timpson in his second year from Penn State. So 1st and 10 at the 20 for Hodson, and the Patriots down by 3. And it's play action. Over the middle, Fryer grabs it and takes it away from Rod Woodson. And it's a first down across the 40 to the 44 on play action to start things off for Hodson in New England.
That was very interesting. The New England Patriots did not huddle. They came straight out onto the field, lined up. Hodson running a little play action fake here to the tailback, goes straight back, hits Fryer right across the middle. Although he had some pressure, that was a great throw and catch, especially the part of the catch by Fryer here against Woodson. Woodson burned for 2 TDs last week. That's not the way Ron wants to start the day off, with a deep pass across the middle on him.
The tight end Cook in motion. Leonard Russell turning the corner nicely. And Russell across the 50 into Pittsburgh territory to the 49-yard line. So we have an opportunity now to look at that top-ranked unit defensively last season that's been victimized in a big way already over the first 2 games this year. The linebackers, Nickerson and Olszewski. Olszewski holding on to that job despite David Little back for the Steelers after a prolonged holdout. Johnson, Woodson, Lake, and Everett in the secondary. A secondary that has already given up 8 touchdown passes over the first 2 weeks after giving up a league record 9 all of last season. So Hodson has him rolling early. 2nd and 3. The ball at the Steelers' 49-yard line. They're bringing Lloyd from the outside up the middle. It's Russell for the first down inside the 45-yard line. Now when the passing situations arise for the New England Patriots, the dime will come in for the Pittsburgh Steelers. So defensively, they'll go with the extra down lineman. Brian Hinkle will remain in the game as the only linebacker. Nickerson, Olszewski leaving. Lloyd does stay in, though. Goes to the down line position. And the extra D-backs are Shelton and Larry Griffin. So an impressive start for Tommy Hodson. 6 starts last year for the New England Patriots. Second-year man out of LSU. LSU had a tough day yesterday down in Aggieville. 1st and 10, close to the 44. Moving the pocket. Hodson has room to run. And a penalty flag goes down late from Johnny Greer, the referee, after a gain of maybe a couple of yards.
Looks like Hardy Nickerson, number 54, may have slid into him after the quarterback had given himself up. Quarterback slides feet first. Stay off of him.
Personal foul. Unnecessary roughness. 54.
Now, that may have not been able to get a Coke can with that slide, the impact, but still, you've got to give the quarterback a free slide. You'll see Hodson getting out of the pocket, trying to just make something out of nothing. Yeah, that's the thing. Even though they didn't put their hat on him, didn't try to brat him, you've got to give him a chance to get down safely. That's the rules. I don't like him so good when I was playing.
Pittsburgh with a 3-0 lead on the 49-yard field goal by Gary Anderson. Less than 6.5 left in the first quarter, and a break for the Patriots on that personal foul call. They've got it inside the Steelers' 29-yard line. Irving Pryor on the gadget play, throwing the ball, looking for the wide receiver, McMurtry. And it's just off his fingertips.
A little razzle-dazzle by the Patriots. I like that.
Well, Dick Corey, the offensive coordinator, yesterday told me we have something up our sleeves and we want to use a gadget when possible. They went with the flea flicker last week, and now it's the lateral pass to Pryor.
Looks like Pryor getting a little antsy here. Fumbles, wobbles the ball. Maybe not as effective as you would like to see him throw it, but still, that pass is there. It needs to be caught by McMurtry. Good look at it there. Very well designed. Great throw.
Even if he brings it in, though, Dan, I don't think he gets both feet down. Inbounds. And now, the misdirection. Leonard Russell staying on his feet. Tough running back. Carnell Lake finally wrapping up. Leonard Russell, the rookie from Arizona State.
We watch a lot of film each and every week, and this guy here, Leonard Russell, is very impressive. When they lost John Stevens to a contract holdout, this is their first-round draft pick, and he has come in playing well above everyone's expectations. Although last week, Joel, he fumbled the ball once and bobbled a couple of passes, dropping them in key situations. They still love this guy. Leonard Russell is their ground game. They know that, and I think by the end of the day, the Pittsburgh Steelers will know that.
Larry Griffin, the extra defensive back, in there now. On 3rd and 10 with the ball close to the 28 of the Steelers. Pryor goes in motion. Hodson out of the shotgun with pressure coming. Steps up, buys some time. Has a man, and it's complete. Complete right at the marker. It is good for Pryor's first down. The 16-yard line. Lake was trying to take it away. Did the whistle blow already, though? I believe it is a first down for New England. Yes, all the way up close to the 11, 16-yard line.
That was a great play by Hodson. Here, getting back in the nickel, the Steelers trying to put just a straight four-man rush. Getting a little heat, flushed out of the pocket. He looks up his 911 number 80, Irving Pryor. He makes a spectacular catch, and here, show him some great strength. Even while being wrestled down, keeps 37 Lake from stealing the ball away from him. That is great play by Pryor, twice now.
Figure this Patriot offense out. Couldn't score a point against the Browns last week, and Russell bangs it straight ahead inside the 15, inside the 13-yard line. They can't score a point against the Cleveland Browns, a team that gave up the most points in the NFL last year. The Browns going into the game last Sunday, they were depleted in their secondary. Had problems defensively going into the game, and still do a good job. As our first look at the 10-minute ticker has Detroit leading Miami early. Washington with a 7-point lead over the Phoenix Cardinals. Nothing doing so far in those last two.
Well, I think one of the things that we have to look for today is emotion. New England is very fired up. They want to win for McPherson and his staff. They look great for the opening drive.
Second, just about 7. Hodson rolling nicely. Hodson going out of bounds. Help from Leonard Russell. Bouncing out Aaron Jones before he could get to Tommy Hodson. And it's a loss of yardage. Well, Tommy Hodson told us yesterday if he was not selected as the starting quarterback on Wednesday, it wouldn't have been a devastating disappointment, a devastating development, because he's only a second-year player to begin with. He was very cool and calm about it all. He said, I'd worked that much harder to get the job back.
I think he's a different type of quarterback than what you see around the league. He's more, he wore some glasses in, looked very preppy, very nice young man, but he doesn't seem to have that swagger that a lot of guys like Kelly or Marino would carry into the room. But in his own way, he is being very effective.
3rd and 12. Ball back at the 18. Hodson going into the corner and overshoots his wide receiver. And actually the tight end who came in the extra one, Ben Coates, the rookie, just out of the reach of Coates. But still a very impressive start to the offense for Dick McPherson. An offensive line that is a much better run offensive line at this stage of the season than a pass protecting offensive line.
Well, everyone talks all week about what do you expect from the other team, the opposition. Well, we heard Steelers say, well, we think New England's going to run it. We heard New England say, we think the Steelers are going to run it. Go back to the basics. Well, they've come out firing a little bit, throwing some intermediate passes, trying to open up the defenses, enabling them to run when they need to in the second, third, and fourth quarters.
It'll be a 35-yard field goal attempt for Jason Starofsky, and he is now 4 for 4 on the year with flags down in the play. That's going to send Starofsky back a little bit further.
Talking about Hodson, Coach McPherson said he likes this kid and he can just play within himself. Now, a lot of people wonder, what does that mean?
Holding, 59, offense. Still 4th down.
We hear so much about a player playing within himself. I think what you have to think about when you hear that is this player has some ability, but not maybe a world beater. If he does the things that he can do well and not try to force the issue, he can be effective in the NFL. That is the way Hodson should play. Let the other players help him, not try to win the game by himself. Because very few can win it by themselves, Joel.
It's going to be a 45-yard try now for Jason Starofsky. As long as he sees him from 39 yards, and boy, does that penalty kill him. Coaches hate to see points taken off the board. And a critical mistake is Vincent Brown, who was on for the special teams, the linebacker, was called the hold. And it cost the Patriots 3 points early, as we'll be right back with under 3 minutes left in the first quarter. River Stadium, Joel Myers along with Dan Hampton. A 1st and 10 for the Steelers at their own 28-yard line. Brister and the Steelers drove well on their first possession. Stalled inside New England territory as Brister's going out wide for Barry Foster, coming back and grabbing that one. Pass thrown behind him. Chris Singleton, the outside linebacker, trying to keep up with the running back, but Foster did all that by himself.
You'll see Foster going in motion. Very dangerous as a running back, but they like the fact that they can get him on a linebacker here on a quick out. Sometimes you throw that out. That linebacker try to get underneath and you run the hitch. Then you've got Foster alone down the sideline. So they're just chipping away right now.
2nd and a couple. Ball at the 36. Counter for Merrill Hodge. Not fool the front 7 of the New England Patriots. They stay at home. It's only a yard on the carry, bringing up 3rd and 1. Tim Goad, the nose tackle, fighting his way to make the tackle. He's in his 4th year out of North Carolina. 4th-round pick back in 1988.
Well, Tim Goad is a load in the middle because he is one of those nose-type football players. You know, a lot of guys you try to put in there, they don't really have the physical stature to be a nose guard. This guy's built low to the ground. We can see there he's got quite a portfolio down there low below the belt.
3rd and a yard. Barry Foster loses it, and it's recovered by Brent Williams. The Patriots have the ball. Foster never got the exchange from Bobby Brister. A foul. Williams will take it. So the recovery for New England and another break. Can they capitalize and put some points on the board this time with 98 seconds left in the first quarter?
Bills. The Jets. Defenses beware. Next.
A poor exchange between Bobby Brister and running back Barry Foster.
Number 77, Hasselrig, the right guard, pulling on what they call a GO. He's outside, trying to kick the outside man out. Brister coming straight back, never gets the ball out wide enough for Foster to be able to hit the hole with the ball in the pit. There it looks like Brister never gave Foster a chance.
The ball at the 34-yard line of the Steelers for the Patriots' second series of the day. Jumping off sides, Keith Willis, a free down for New England. And Leonard Russell cannot step out of the ankle tackle of Rod Woodson. But it will be a free 5 with Keith Willis jumping off sides. That's been a real problem for the Pittsburgh Steelers. They jumped off 5 times last Sunday.
Talking with Joe Green this week, he just gets frustrated at times. He just feels like some of these guys just keep repeating the same mistakes. He talked about how last week the Buffalo Bills drew his defensive lineman off the line 5 different times. That's way too much for professional football. I know you want to be aggressive, but you've got to be able to sit in there and watch the ball, not be influenced by movement or the snap count.
Cook, the tight end, in motion on 1st and 5, and John Stevens carrying it for the first time this year. Dives ahead between the 27 and 28. It's even now at Detroit as the Dolphins get a field goal, and Washington trying to pull away early from the 2-0 Phoenix Cardinals. And Cincinnati with an 0-2 record trying to win on the road at Cleveland this afternoon. So a 2nd and 3 situation after that first carry of the year for John Stevens in his 4th year from Northwest Louisiana State. They have 2 very powerful running backs now with Leonard Russell and John Stevens. 2 that can get outside, have that kind of speed, but 2 that are very good between the 2 tackles. Simpson goes in motion to pitch the opposite way to Stevens. Stevens trying to cut it back in. That is near the 26, short of the first down by a couple. He gets a yard, and that is it. Olszewski and Kenny Davidson in on that stop.
You have to think that Coach McPherson really likes the way his offense is keeping its composure. Here they are down to the Steeler 27, down in the red territory twice in the first quarter. Now that is a big change. Last week they never got anything going. Already they seem to have gotten things on track and are being effective moving the ball.
We've completed the first 15 minutes of play at Three River Stadium in Pittsburgh. The difference right now, a 49-yard field goal by Gary Anderson. First quarter stats fairly even and a positive start if you're a New England Patriot fan, because they are moving the ball effectively through the air, something they could not do last week with Tommy Hodson throwing for only 95 yards on 12 of 26 passing. Well, raising some eyebrows earlier this week in the Steel City was defensive line coach Joe Green, who's a member of that Steel Curtain, all those great Super Bowl teams. He said last week they went to Buffalo. They moved out of their neighborhood. They tried to take a step up in class. Things obviously didn't work out, a rude awakening. Chuck Noll also added, I got to pick Joe up. He takes these losses too hard at times. Hodson out of the shotgun on 3rd and 3. It's Cook, the tight end. Great pair of hands. He's got 10 receptions on the season now. Second best among the tight ends in the NFL. And it is a first down for New England on a very low-risk pass, a safe one.
Well, that's what they want Hodson to do. Just play within himself like we talked earlier. They're Cook running it just a little out, getting the first down. But I think that the Steeler defense is still expecting the New England Patriots to pound on them. Giving up some of the intermediate short passing lanes right now, expecting the run, having all those guys up there to stop Russell and Stevens.
Simpson and Pryor on the same side on 1st and 10 inside the 20. Nice shift by Leonard Russell to take it down to the 16-yard line for a gain of close to 4.
Well, the Steelers not playing so well on the offensive line side of the ball last week. Now they were going to have to watch the New England offensive line, see if they can get a surge. Here you see they're just mauling the Pittsburgh front. And that's one of the things that has got to bother Joe Green still. They played pretty good defense at times last year, being the #1 ranked unit, but they never were dominant up front. You can see Joe Green does not like people mauling his defensive line.
Great surge and great vision by Russell to cut it back and look for that opening over to the left side. There was no hole available on the right side. Hodson throwing on 2nd and close to 7 and overshoots his man as it's almost picked off. He wanted Leonard Russell. Thomas Everett, the free safety, almost coming up with that interception.
Hodson throwing the ball a little bit high. Great protection, getting back The front is giving him time. Now, all he has to do is drop that ball a couple of feet, and it's a reception over the middle. Everett playing number 27 here at the top of the screen, diving for the ball. He's told us, Joel, he was so embarrassed about last week. He said probably the lowest he's ever been for the Steelers. That was just a debacle. He feels like he has got to play well today.
3rd and 7, the ball. Close to the 16-yard line as they roll the pocket for Tommy Hodson. Has to hurry. Into the end zone it goes, and it's batted away from Michael Timpson. The defensive back, Rod Woodson. He almost had an interception on that ball. Gerald Williams getting Hodson as soon as he released the ball.
Hodson is not that big and not that strong, but he does have some wheels. He gets out of the pocket here. Gerald Williams coming in from behind. Hodson has no idea he's there. Just a little bit late. Hodson getting the ball downfield where he has a chance of getting a touchdown reception.
Sounds just like a former defensive lineman.
Well, if Williams would have stripped the ball rather than going for the quarterback's waist, he possibly could have forced a fumble there.
Starofsky with a 33-yard attempt to tie it up. And he is right on target. So he is 1 for 2 on the afternoon, 4 of 5 on the season. And it's all tied up at Three River Stadium. Starofsky ready to kick it away. Rod Woodson back deep for the Steelers at his own 5-yard line. It is all tied up at 3 apiece after the 33-yard field goal by Jason Starofsky. And from the 5, Rod Woodson. Great special teams coverage getting down there. Michael Timpson, the wide receiver, to get him around the ankles near the 23-yard line. So Brister and the offense ready for their 3rd series of the first half. New England defensive front 7 looking effective early against the run, but all of a sudden Brister throwing them a curveball because New England felt coming out that after what happened at Buffalo, Pittsburgh would try to run the ball early, establish the run. Instead, it's been the intermediate, the short routes. Well, Brister going back to the tight end Eric Green. They give to Barry Foster. Nothing doing. To the 25, and that is it.
Well, Joel, that's why you're seeing some of these intermediate short routes. They're trying to create some gaps, trying to get those linebackers from forcing so quickly. When those linebackers are getting balls thrown over their head for 8 and 12-yard completions, they don't sell out and attack the line of scrimmage and attack those guards on play action like you're seeing right now. Brister has got to be able to loosen it up by doing that, throwing the ball behind them and getting them back off the line.
Ernie Mills comes into the game, the rookie from Florida, 3rd-round draft choice, joining Dwight Stone, who's in motion. And on 2nd and long, Brister wanted Stone, wasn't available. Back the other way, safety valve Merrill Hodge fumbles it. It's recovered again by New England. The Patriots get it back, deep in Steeler territory. And it was Harry Colton, the strong safety, coming up with a loose ball. So the 2nd turnover and the 2nd pickup for the Patriots.
That's the 2nd fumble for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Number 59, Vincent Brown, rips the ball loose. Now that's the last 2 drives for the Steelers have been killed by fumbles and by running backs. That's something that you don't want to see. Coach Snow loves dependable diesels. Those type of players that don't make mistakes. There are Foster fumbles on the last series. This one, Merrill Hodge.
1st and 10. Hodson going for the bundle, has the wide receiver, and it's intercepted. No, dropped by Rod Woodson. He wanted Irving Pryor. The ball a little bit underthrown and behind Pryor. I like the idea by McPherson, though. Has confidence. Pryor doing so well over the first 2 weeks.
Great play by Ron Woodson. Hasn't been as effective this season as he would like. Last week giving up 2 touchdown passes, but that was an all-pro play. Fighting against an all-pro type player in Irving.
And David Little, who held out, is in the lineup now for the Pittsburgh Steelers for the first time this year. They double up on the same side. As Pryor gets a break, running Russell to the opposite side. Look at the surge, though. With Russell following his blockers.
36 interceptions.
5. Down to the 28.
Running engine is open.
Very seldom do you see Russell, number 32, get driven backwards on a tackle. He's always falling forward.
A look now at the ITT ticker. on week number 3 of the season. Still even at the Silverdome. Washington maintaining their 14-point lead. And San Francisco on the board first at Minnesota. So make it a 3rd and 6 now coming up with Philadelphia. Surprising Dallas in the first half. At Dallas. 3rd and 6 from the 28-yard line of the Steelers with Cook in motion. Misdirection give. Huge hole up the middle for Marvin Allen. And he's got the first down inside the 20 down to the 39-yard line. Marvin Allen. They've got some backs now. They go 4 deep in the tailback spot. He's in his 4th year from Tulane.
Well, Coach McPherson said when he got to New England, there were some pluses. It wasn't all a minus. Running backs is one thing he loves to have, and he's got a stable for. Great sprint draw. You see the line open up. The Steelers trying to rush the passer. Hodson brings the ball back, gives it to Allen. Drive a Jeep through there.
Well, the New England Patriots dead last offensively in the NFL after the first 2 weeks, but you couldn't tell the Pittsburgh Steelers that right now. Marvin Allen gets his number called once again. And it's down to the 15-yard line. A gain of 4 on that carry. 10.5 minutes left in the first half. The Patriots trying to take their first lead of the afternoon. They got their first points after a fumble. Recovery by Brent Williams. Now the recovery off the fumble by Hodge by Harry Colin.
New England needs to score a touchdown for nothing else but confidence. They've been held without a score for 7 quarters. This would be a big boost for them.
2nd and 6. The ball to the 15-yard line. With a big hole up the middle. Down the 11-yard line. Well, that group of Armstrong, Crawford, Chilton, Villa, and Harlow doing a great job tackle to tackle on the offensive line.
Well, that's one thing they like about these running backs. They make the offensive line play better. Here you'll see Villa trying to string the play out, trying to just get those linemen turned and drive them off the ball. Stevens, big strong back, makes 4. 3rd and 2.
Each of his first 3 seasons, he's the single set with Cook going in motion on 3rd and 2. It's Stevens. Bottled up in the backfield. He won't get there. That time they stacked it to stop the run. And the Steelers got the job done.
What they're trying to do is just run a base gut play, body on body. Here Stevens trying to cut back behind it. The center's block. The Everett coming up, forcing the run. That's Carnell Lake, number 37, the strong safety up on the line, expecting that gut power play.
So they'll have to try for the 3 points with Jason Starofsky getting on that last drive, 33 yards after missing a 45-yarder. This is a 28-yard attempt, and New England does have the lead. So by way of those 2 turnovers, it's 2 field goals for the Patriots, and a 6-3 advantage now for Dick McPherson's crew as they try to win their 2nd game of the year. Starofsky now 2 of 3 on the afternoon, always giving thanks to the solid play of the special teams in front of him, but also thanks to a higher source after converting that one. And the kickoff from Starofsky, a couple of yards into the end zone for Rod Woodson with the Patriots up 6-3. Woodson across the 20. Put down by Marvin Allen at the 22. And before we put things back into play with the Steelers offense, let's go to Bob Costas at NFL Live.
Joel, problems continue for the 0-2 Bengals. Here's a 4th and 1 play, actually less than a yard, inside the 10-yard line of the Browns. Esiason on the keeper. He's stuffed by what seems like the entire Browns defensive unit. Cleveland holds. Look at the expression on Sam Weich's face. His team does have a 3-0 lead on a Jim Breach field goal. Joel?
Bob, so it's a field goal kind of Sunday. Same situation here at Three Rivers Stadium as Brisker dumps it off on the screen to Merrill Hodge. And he is leveled by Vincent Brown. He's coming off one of his best games in the last couple of years. Hodge with good yardage, about 6 yards. But Vincent Brown had 14 tackles last week. 11 of those stopped solos.
There's a lot of people that have an awful lot of respect for this New England front 7. Not to slight their secondary, but they feel like this is the strength of the football team. They've got some good people in there. You talk about Agnew, Doe, Brent Williams, Andre Tippett, Eugene Lockhart inside. Looks like Williams may be hurt here.
Unfortunately, he has to leave the game.
They've got some good players on that front.
Second and 4. The ball outside of the 27. And Barry Foster trying to break the tackle in the backfield. Can't get away from Tim Goad. The nose tackle getting past the center and penetrating once again.
Goad is a guy that he isn't someone that has got to play well for New England to play well on defense. You say that why is one guy so important? Well, he enables the inside linebackers to be able to range, to roam, to do some different things. If he is making the offense account 2 men for him, then there's someone running free. Those guys, Lockhart, Vincent Brown, they're a lot more effective when Tim Goad's being double teamed.
About a 3rd and 5 now for the Steelers. They are 1 of 3 in third down conversions. Only 2 of 12 in third down last week. And it's through the hands of Dwight Stone across the middle. And Maurice Hurst providing the coverage. So 3 snaps and out for the Steelers offense. An offense that produced some points last week. 9 of those plays out there 54. And Joe Walton has to be disappointed. 9 accounted by Barry Foster for 121 yards. The other 45 snaps, though, for the offense. Only 144 yards last Sunday against Buffalo. So when you take into consideration so did those passes as well from Bubby Brister, and only an additional 144 on 45 plays, they struggled against Buffalo's defensive units. Brzezinski punting it away to Jerome Henderson, a rookie from Clemson. The high wobbler had a fair catch called for as Henderson takes it right there back inside his own 32-yard line, and the fight breaks out. Olszewski going at it. Getting into it with the New England Patriots, Harry Coleman. So a quick bell. They're back to the corners at Three Rivers with 6:55 left in the first half.
See sports coverage of the National Football League is brought to you by the new Mazda. Mazda, it just feels right. By Old Milwaukee and Old Milwaukee Light, it doesn't get any better than this. By Hertz, we never forget who made us #1. We're Hertz, we're America's wheels. And by Goodyear Eagle Radios, the best-selling performance radios in the world.
It is definitely warm enough to take it off if you're bold enough. And welcome back to Three River Stadium. Joel Myers along with Dan Hampton. Ivy Joe Hunter in the backfield along with John Stevens in the eye. A 6-3 Patriots lead. Play action. As Hodson throwing on first down. The ball deflected and intercepted. The Steelers get it back. Greg Lloyd picking up the errant toss. The interception by the outside linebacker.
95 Lloyd is one of those guys that seems to always be around the ball. 2 weeks ago, I thought he was the best defensive player for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Today, coming up with a great interception there. Ball deflected. Hodson gets back. Kenny Davidson spins out, gets his hand up, deflects it off its trajectory, and great interception. That is athletic ability, and Lloyd's got an awful lot of it.
So Greg Lloyd coming up with the pick, but give credit to that other former LSU Tiger. Batting away the ball from another LSU Tiger. Kenny Davidson getting the play done. Lips available over the middle. He beat Maurice Hurst. And he's inside the 15-yard line.
Well, after that last series, I think Joe Walton wanted to get something going. Here, he lets Brister fire to Lewis Lips. Lips just running a deep cross. Lewis, one of the best still in the game.
Well, they started with it after the interception of the 37, and very quickly, it's down inside the 14-yard line of the Patriots. All 6 points for New England, coming as the direct result of turnovers by Pittsburgh. Now they try to get their first points of the day on a turnover by New England. 1st and 10 with Stone in motion. Countered Barry Foster. And they're stopping the run very effectively in the early going. He only gets a yard on the carry. Eugene Lockhart, the former Cowboy, the first one there. Updating those scores around the NFL. The ITT ticker. And Miami with their first lead of the day. The Detroit Lions. Washington still has that 14-point advantage. Your former team, the Bears, getting the field goal from Butler. Lead it by 3 over the Giants. And it's all even now at the Metrodome. And Philadelphia is still up by 10. While at second, it's still close to 10, almost 9 yards. Harold Hodge to the outside with the stiff arm on Fred Marion. But he's forced out after his short gain inside the 10 down to the 9-yard line.
Watch 86 here. Look how he turns the corner for Hodge to get around. Number 86, the big tight end, Green, seals everyone out. But Fred Marion, the fine safety, comes up and forces it. That's the thing about New England. They have got such great team speed. You can shut down the line, and the secondary can still recover and hold it to a minimal gain.
So now a huge third down for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Exactly 5 minutes left in the first half. A 3rd and 6 with the ball at the New England 9. Will they also have to settle for 3? Brister out of the shotgun. Warren Williams in there. Looking for Stone in the corner. And it's overthrown. Really forced that ball. And didn't look off Dwight Stone all that much.
No, he didn't, and it looked like he had Hodge or even Green, the big tight end, Green, out in the left flat. Bubby having his eyes glued on one receiver, not getting off of them quick enough. He's got to be able to shift gears to be effective in this league.
Outstanding coverage by Mickey Washington. There was nothing really available in that corner of the end zone for Bubby Brister. Gary Anderson tries to tie it with a 26-yard field goal attempt. He has hit his last 54 straight from the 35 and in. Did they get him to jump? It'll be a free 5, and then they'll have a dilemma. It'll bring up 4th and 1. Do you go for it? But was there movement by Pittsburgh to draw them off?
We'll see here on the left of our screen, it looks like the defensive player jumped into the offensive player, drawing contact.
And now Anderson.
It looks like Chuck saying, hey, let's roll the dice.
Yes, Anderson's off. The offense is back on the field.
I think Chuck's saying if we cannot get 1 yard against the New England Patriots, we'll let them stop us. I mean, he's saying this is it. We have got to get something established. New England has been able to establish some offense. Pittsburgh hasn't. He's getting frustrated. He wants to see what's going to happen right now on this play.
They called it against Andre Tippett, 5-time Pro Bowler, in his 9th year out of Iowa. But there were about 3 or 4 others you could have called it on the defensive front for the Patriots. So now 4th and a yard. The ball just inching inside the 5. The stick close to the 3-yard line. And a 3 tight end set. Cooper, Green, and Malarkey aboard for Pittsburgh. Barry Foster, he is stopped short of the 4. I don't believe he got it. I don't believe he's even close. He needed to get near to the 3-yard line.
It'll be very, very close. I think he's past the 4, inside it, but it'll be where they mark it.
I think he's still on the wrong side of the 4, and New England has the ball. What a stand by the Patriots after a breakdown in picking up that 5-yard penalty. So an automatic 3 from Anderson would have tied it. Instead, they gamble, and it doesn't pay off.
Pretty good surge. Here you'll see Williams, the big defensive end, getting back out, cutting the legs out of Foster. Foster not having enough momentum to go across the top and get the first down.
And Fred Marion also in there with the big play.
On September.
It isn't often he breaks that poker face on the sideline, but right after they failed on 4th and 1, Chuck Noll visibly upset over the developments for his Pittsburgh Steelers as they trail by 3 to the New England Patriots. 4:35 left in the first 30 minutes of play. And Joy on the other side. You think he'll work some pounds off today the way Dick McPherson works the sideline? Better believe it. The dive play at the fullback, not much, but close to 3 out of the 7 as we get another update now from Bob Costas in NFL Live.
All right, Joel, look at Miami's Mark Higgs, the journeyman turned early season star. Better than 100 yards each of the first 2 weeks of the season, plowing through Lion defenders to make it to the goal line for this 5-yard score. That gave Don Shula, in pursuit of his 300th win, a 10-3 lead. Rodney Peete came back through a touchdown pass to knot it at 10 in the second quarter at the Silverdome. Joel?
Player in there, Freddie Chilla at right guard, 350-pounder there, Joel, trying to get some movement.
Leonard Russell moving it across the 10. Near the 13-yard line, he's short of the first down by a yard. Ivy Joe Hunter for a couple, and now Russell very close to the first down marker. And in case you missed NFL Live earlier today, headlines on week number 3 of the NFL season. Well, the 49ers and the Saints showing interest in disgruntled running back Bobby Humphrey of the Denver Broncos. Packers have already said they will not trade Tim Harris to a team within their own division. And Commissioner Paul Tagliabue saying that the league will offer a collective bargaining agreement to the players within the next 30 days. An injured Patriot down on the field. We will find out about that development with 3:42 left in the first half of play when we return to Three Rivers Stadium.
You want to spend his...
The Jets. Defenses beware. Next.
The Patriots carry only 2 tight ends, and one of those 2 down right now. Ben Coates, their rookie. It looked like he got tangled up with one of the offensive linemen.
Well, he's trying to block the outside linebacker here. He's getting a little bit of movement, and then number 77, his own man, offensive tackle Pat Harlow, falls across the back of his left leg. Looks like a lot of stuff got banged up on that play. That's the thing about playing smash mouth. You're going to have some bodies falling around, and a lot of times they get tangled up pretty bad. But the thing is, they need all these big bodies they can get because they want to play smash mouth. They want to run the ball. They want to be able to control the clock and keep Brister off the field. That hurts them.
3rd and short. 3rd, a little bit better than a yard for the Patriots. They need to get it across the 14 near the 15-yard line. Leonard Russell gets the call, and Russell, I believe he's got a yes across the 15-yard line. So that is the 7th first down for the New England Patriots. They picked up only 8 all of last week against the Cleveland Browns. So some encouraging developments already for the Patriots and their fans.
When we talked in the opening about how starting Hodson this week is something trying to give the team some stability, kind of keep everything on an even keel. There's been so much change up New England. I think the offense is responding, saying, hey, thanks for the encouragement. Thanks for the commitment for Tommy. We're going to go out and do our best to keep him in the game and keep him the starter because we want to be effective.
1st and 10 from outside of the 15. Deep drop, and the pocket holds up for Hodson, who has his wide out. It's complete to Irving Fryer. And he is just short of the first down. Working in the corner, Rod Woodson.
It's amazing to me how, if I was a defense, I would put everybody I had on Irving Fryer. The rest of the receivers aren't that effective here. He just runs Woodson off the line. Last week, Lofton from Buffalo ran by Woodson for a touchdown. Woodson taking that bite and allowing the quick turnout to get him for 10.
2nd and inches. Clock moving under 2.5 minutes left of the first half. It's Ivy Joe Hunter for the first down. The Plan B signing from the Indianapolis Colts. He gets 2. Up to the 27-yard line.
Well, one of the interesting things up to here, I have to think, Joel, is the fact that New England is dominating the offensive line, the line of scrimmage with their offensive line. They are being able to run the ball when they want to, throw the ball when they have to or need to. They're getting it done.
2 minutes.
A positive start for Dick McPherson, Tommy Hodson, and the Patriots. Not an outrageous development, but still a very consistent one in the first half of play.
But not put a lot of pressure on the quarterback, Hodson. They're very, very favorable to the New England Patriots.
1st and 10, the ball at the 27-yard line of the Patriots. Holding up for Hodson, going for Cook, and it's just batted away by Olszewski. The inside linebacker doing a nice job of keeping up with the tight end.
Great coverage there. He's one of those guys that just always seems to show up at training camp, have a great camp, and make the team. He wasn't a very high draft pick, but he's a big part of the special teams. A lot of the players really like having him around. He's one of those everyday guys, local kind of guy, Pittsburgh native. He's a big part of the defense, and he makes a lot of big plays by doing things like that. Tipping balls, getting fumbles, making plays.
Steelers have already gone to their dime package on 2nd and 10. Pressure on Hodson, setting up the screen just out of the reach of his running back, John Vaughn, the rookie from Michigan, who Dick Corey told us yesterday his best receiver out of the backfield. And they had it set up pretty nicely if they could have gotten the pass into his hands.
Well, not right in. Gerald Williams makes a pretty good move here on a rip and gets around the corner. You'll see him forcing Hodson to backpedal a little bit too quickly to get his feet set. Put enough air into that ball to get it out.
Williams led the Steelers sacks last season, and not often a down lineman will lead a team in quarterback sacks, but that's been one of the problems for the Pittsburgh Steelers, putting pressure on the quarterback, and it was never more evident than last Sunday when Jim Kelly threw 45 passes and was only sacked twice. 3rd and 10, Hodson with a short drop out of the shotgun for Cook, but way short of the first down marker, going underneath to the 31-yard line. So the Steelers will get it back, use a timeout. Their first of 3.
Pittsburgh.
Plenty of time to work with it to get some more points before halftime. And now this could be a severe blow. Greg Lloyd, the exceptional outside linebacker, hobbling on that left side a little bit.
Well, when we talked to the New England Patriots yesterday, we talked to Hodson and said, who stands out for the Steelers? He said Greg Lloyd. He's always around the ball making something happen. Now, if he is indeed out, and it looks like his knee is still bothering him, that would be a big blow.
If there's one coach that could give Dick McPherson some advice, it would be Chuck Noll. Don't forget, in 1969, Chuck's first year on the job, the Steelers went 1-15. Now Dick McPherson taking over a 1-15 team. And I thought Fred Marion put it best yesterday when we spoke with him about Coach McPherson. He said, we hit rock bottom last year, but Mac has brought back a winning attitude. And this game is basically attitude. And he's brought it back. So there's not that feeling of uncertainty when we hit the playing field. Going from bad to good, Dan, you look at teams that have turned it around. The Bills in 85, 2-14, and San Francisco way down there as well. It's going to take time and patience from the Patriot fans.
Well, they feel like when they go out on the field now, they have a chance to win. They didn't feel that last year.
Delay. Offense. Still 4th down.
Brian Wagner ready to punt it away for the Patriots. 5 yards further back now. And don't forget, next Saturday, NBC's coverage of all the thrills and excitement of Notre Dame football continues. It'll be Michigan State and Notre Dame. That game was a classic last year, with Notre Dame getting the final touchdown with 34 seconds left. Wagner averaging 41 a try over the first 2 weeks. High spiral from Woodson. Maurice Hurster, check that. As Woodson bobbles the ball. Does it head out of bounds? Yes, it was out of bounds before it was recovered by that first man down for the New England Patriots, David Poole, the reserve defensive back. A 54-yard punt, a 13-yard return by Woodson before he coughed it up. But fortunately for the Steelers, it doesn't result in their 3rd turnover of the first half. So minute 26 left in the first 30 minutes of play for Bubby Brister. He's got 2 timeouts remaining, plenty of time.
Well, the Patriots are expecting them to go ahead and try to get down and score, obviously. They brought in their dime defense, which they call the double X. Tippett playing right in, trying to get some pass rush here.
1st and 10 from the 33. Plenty of time to go to Eric Green, the tight end. And he's got a first down to the 45-yard line as he's pulled down by Darrell Fullington. Green goes at 6'5", 285. Joe Walton told us one of the most fluid he's ever seen for a man of that size. And Louis Lips gets the man to go for the interception. Maurice Hurst, and gets another first down. Hurst thought that he had a chance for the pick to go down the sideline for a touchdown. Moment of indecision really cost Hurst.
Well, Brister's very effective in this 2-minute drill. We saw 2 weeks ago him move the team up and down the field in it. Here going to Lips. Defensive back. Hurst trying to make a play for an interception. Lips getting up and getting back out of bounds, stopping the clock.
60 seconds left in the first half. Only 2 snaps, and the Steelers already take it from their own 33 down to the New England 37. The play action for Bubby Brister. He's got plenty of time. Dumps it off to Merrill Hodge. Hodge holding on as the first Patriot to catch up with him was Jerome Henderson, the rookie. And he does get out of bounds, I believe. No, they got him down first. Just short of the first down markers, so the Steelers will have to use one of their 2 remaining timeouts.
Timeout. Pittsburgh, number 2. This is a 40-second timeout.
Well, Joel, I think you're seeing the Patriots tired down a little bit. Ray Agnew, their left end, normal left end, number 92, is out with a bad hip. Garen Veras starting at the right side, number 90. He is having to play every down, and now you're seeing some of the heat and the humidity affect this defensive line. That's the hardest job in football, is to rush the passer. And it looks like they're getting stalemated at the line now, the Steeler offensive line going ahead and keeping them out, giving Brister enough time to make some decisions.
You brought up a good point yesterday. We were talking about how the heat and humidity could be a factor, and you said it is much tougher on a defensive player, especially the down lineman, as opposed to an offensive player.
Well, the thing is, last week we saw the Steeler defense become very tired chasing around the Buffalo receivers and running backs. I remember in Miami, 1985, we went down and it was so hot. We were 12-0, and we left there getting just smoked because we were not in condition to be able to react properly. And Dan Marino took us apart.
Second and short. Brister with time again for Mike Mularkey. Great grab. Mularkey, the dependable one, who spent so many seasons backing up Steve Jordan with the Minnesota Vikings. He's found a home in Pittsburgh in his third year with the Steelers. They'll save that last time out on 1st and 10 from the 22. Offensive line doing a great job for Bubby Brister. He's got all day, and he's got little looks, but he couldn't find him. He got behind Harry Coleman, the strong safety. Well, Brister, over the first two, Brister has been the target of some darts here in Pittsburgh because he's only thrown one touchdown pass, and he's had 3 picked off.
Well, sometimes you can think about it a little bit too long, especially at this end of the field. You've got to make quicker decisions because you can't get those guys open forever. There's only a break for just a second where you have a window of opportunity. Here, trying to throw it deep. Now, Lips was there if he could have just got the ball down a little bit.
15 seconds left in the first half. 1 timeout remaining for Brister. After this play, they may have to go for the field goal. And it's only down to the 15-yard line. They stop the clock with 8 seconds remaining. So now you've got possibly one try for the end zone.
Pittsburgh, number 3.
Capitalize. You've got to get Gary Anderson on the field. But you've got to make sure that it's a timing pattern. And now they won't even take a chance. It will be Gary Anderson.
I think that's a smart choice. Go in tied, regroup, get things together. We're talking about that fatigue factor. On offense, you don't become near as tired because there's only one guy running 10, 15, 20 yards. That's the running back or the receiver. On defense, you've got 11 guys chasing one guy. So there's 11 guys running and exerting energy every play rather than the entire offensive line, tight ends, or whoever it may be.
It'll be a field goal try for Anderson of 32 yards. He has already hit a 49-yarder. He has not missed from the 35 and in his last 54 attempts, 54 straight from this territory. The exchange, a good one to Straczynski, the holder, and it is all tied up. So the 32-yard field goal by Gary Anderson, his 8th field goal of the year. He is now 8 of 9. The only one he missed was a 50-yard try. All tied up at 6 apiece. 3 seconds left in the first half. A positive start for the New England Patriots. A frustrating one for the Pittsburgh Steelers, where they were coming back home. And not a bad start defensively, but they were coming back home after moving the ball in week 1 against San Diego. Week 2, they had their problems offensively. Still got points on the board. In fact, averaging better than 25 points over the first 2 games, but only 6 so far against the New England Patriots. So they were expecting big things and have to be still frustrated.
Well, after Barry Foster's big week last week, I don't understand why they're not trying to go ahead and just pound away at the New England front. Sure, they've been stopped time and time again, but you've got to go ahead and pound that rock with a hammer to be able to crack it. You can't do it with 1 blow or 3. It takes a bunch of them. Now, a guy like Foster, I think I'd have to give him the ball 10 times a half against a young team like the New England Patriots and see what he can do.
Anderson kicking it away over the head. No. Michael Timpson will stay in the end zone. No, he'll bring it out. Why not? The last play of the first half, and he's safe at second. So Timpson with the stolen base. 2 field goals for Starofsky and 2 for Anderson. That's all the scoring so far at Three Rivers Stadium. It's tied at 6, the Steelers and the Patriots. Let's join Bob Costas now for the Domino's Pizza NFL Live halftime report.
This is the
Pittsburgh Steelers and the New England Patriots. A defensive struggle, to say the least. And welcome back once again, Joel Myers, along with Dan Hampton. No, it's not Hampton down in the trenches and the monsters of the Midway in the NFC Central, but it's the Steelers and the New England Patriots, and both defenses right now dominating.
Well, after last week's disappointing loss, obviously Pittsburgh had a lot to show today. They've been playing pretty well. Joe Green came out and questioned some of the commitment. Well, they've been committed to stopping the New England so far. And so far, I think the defense played well. On the other hand, the offense with Pittsburgh has not.
A lot of finger pointing at the Steelers' defensive unit after giving up 52 points and 6 touchdown passes to Jim Kelly last Sunday. Obviously, now the finger pointing over to the offensive side because some poor decisions by Bubby Brister where it appeared like he didn't look off his primary early enough.
Well, not only that, but small things, more or less like not getting the hand off to Barry Foster, causing the fumble. Brister needs to concentrate a little bit more. Don't eyeball the receivers. Make all the mechanics work. And if he does that, he can be a fine quarterback, but he can't just go out there and play natural. It takes more than that.
On the other side of the field, the New England Patriots wanted to play within themselves. They've done exactly that in the first half. A low-risk passing game, a number of solid rushing plays from the Patriots as you look at the first half stats, and they have already matched their first down output of last Sunday against Cleveland.
Well, I just think the New England Patriots are sticking to the formula they want to stick to. They wanted to be able to run the ball when they wanted to, though when they had to. But as of here, so far, I think that McPherson has to be very happy with the way Tom Hodson is playing. He's throwing the ball very accurately. He's not trying to get greedy, not going deep. I think right now, New England is in control of this game.
Well, you don't want to put too much pressure on Tommy Hodson. They have not done that. They haven't asked all that much from Hodson. Well, one of the key plays, though, in the first half, 4th and a yard at the 5. Barry Foster.
Well, Brent Williams makes a great play getting Foster stood up where he cannot really become like a projectile into the end zone. Marion comes up, knocks him down short. That was the biggest play so far in this game.
Key play, to say the least, for the New England Patriots defensive side. Now, New England cannot count on turnovers. They did pick up a couple of fumbles in the first 30 minutes of play. Now they have to start making things happen offensively.
Well, I just think that this game is going to be decided by running backs. You know, the quarterbacks get an awful lot of the conjecture going in. But I think whether Foster has a big second half or Stevens and Russell for New England has the bigger half will be the ones to decide the game.
A very deep backfield all of a sudden for the New England Patriots with John Stevens playing in the first half, joining Leonard Russell. John Vaughn also seeing some time, as well as Marvin Allen, who had a big run for a first down on a delay play. And some nice blocks out in front by the fullback, Ivy Joe Hunter. So a very deep group in the offensive backfield for the Patriots. Let's see if they utilize that group and continue to go that way. Now, Barry Foster, last week, carried it 6 times in the first half for the Pittsburgh Steelers, but only 3 times in the second half. Let's see if the Steelers now go back to the basics and try to get it into the hands of Foster, who had 121 yards last Sunday against Buffalo.
Well, New England's a lot tougher against the run than what Buffalo was, but I still think you've got to give those good backs a chance to get you into a game. Right now, it's 6-6. It's a brand new ball game, but if Foster has a big half, I look for Steelers to go ahead and pull this thing out.
A real break for the New England Patriots because Vaughn and Timpson went to sleep. That looked like Barry Foster last year in San Francisco. I don't want it, you take it. Vaughn let it sail over his head. Now that stays in the end zone, and Vaughn was a bit nonchalant about it. Obviously, the special teams coach is going to talk to him about that development. Got to cover the ball. It's a live ball. So a real break for New England that it skirted in and out of the end zone. The Patriots mix things up nicely with the run and the pass. More passing, though, believe it or not, from the Steelers when it looked like they were going to make that commitment to Foster in the ground game this week. Marvin Allen takes it across the 20 out to the 23-yard line. Near the 24 for 4 yards when there looked like there was no hole whatsoever, Dan. A good surge by that offensive line once again.
Well, McPherson likes his 2 tackles. He thinks that he can build an offensive line around those 2 big guys he's got out there. Armstrong at the left side, Pat Harlow, the first-round draft pick, at the right side. Inside, he needs to get a little bit more power, a little bit more consistency. But in this game today, they have been playing very well and controlling the running lanes for New England.
He is one of the most upbeat individuals you will ever be around in talking about Dick McPherson. 2nd and 6. John Stevens wrapped up by Aaron Jones across the 26 to the 27-yard line. So close to the vest, deep in their own territory, what you would expect with a second-year quarterback. Not trying to put too much pressure on him in a tie game at 6 apiece.
Well, at 3rd and 3, it's a lot easier decision for Hodson here on pass routes and where he needs to go with the ball. If he indeed wants to throw it, then it would be on 3rd and 8, 3rd and 10. So I think this is what they want to do. Take the pressure off of Hodson, pound, pound, pound. And if he wants to throw it, it'll be an easier decision when he has to.
They're 4 of 8 and 3rd downs in the first half. Their first try in the second half on 3rd and 3 over the middle. Ivy Joe Hunter as he stopped short of the first down. The linesman comes in, yes, short of the 30-yard line where they needed to go. They'll be inches short. So a favorable spot for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Now they put the ball with the nose of the football right on the 30. Just the nose of the ball, and that's all they need. A real break.
Talking with Coach McPherson yesterday, I got to bring up this one comment, Joe. When after the game last week, when Hodson didn't play the game that I'm sure they needed him to play, they said, well Coach, were you ever going to put you in a quarterback? And he said, me, quarterback? I don't play quarterback. But he's just that kind of guy. Very upbeat, very peppy, someone that this team really needed.
Flags, dead ball foul coming up against New England.
False start.
No false start.
65 offense.
Following on Albert Crawford, the left guard. His position was magnified last week because they had a 61-yard pass that was nullified because of a holding call last Sunday on Crawford. And I won't bring up that he's a former Arkansas Razorback, Dan Hampton.
Well, if he's not in there, one of the guys they bring in to replace him is Freddie Childress, a guy they picked up off the wire from Dallas, who's a 350-pound offensive guard from Arkansas. So it'll be interesting to see which one of the Hogs finishes the game.
1st and 15. The ball at the 25. Hodson has the pocket hold up well and hits Marv Cook. And not much room there. Good coverage by Olszewski. It had to be a perfect throw towards the sideline, towards the outside for Cook. We thought he was being held at the same time.
Cook said, get this guy off of me. He's like a cape. Get close to Halloween. That's the thing about Cook, though. He was one of the better tight ends in the AFC last year, just in his 3rd year out of Iowa. They really like him. They think he's a type of possession tight end that they can build an awful nice passing game around.
Dick Corey, the offensive coordinator, told me this morning before the game, just want to keep it close. So you have the opportunity to win in the 4th quarter, and they're doing that exact same thing right now. They're keeping it close. They're not beating themselves, at least at this juncture. 3.5 minutes into the 3rd quarter. And problems, communication problems for Hodson and the offense cost them a very valuable second-half timeout. So Hodson on his way to the sideline to figure things out. The second-year man from LSU will be right back to Pittsburgh.
Coverage of the...
Welcome back to warm Three Rivers Stadium. Joel Myers along with Dan Hampton. A 6-all tie. 11.5 minutes left in the 3rd quarter. And the Patriots just had to use up a timeout. A little bit confused on the offensive side. Now they're ready. 2nd and 6. The ball at their own 34. Flags into the air. Hodson on his way down. He is going to be sacked by Gerald Williams. Line judge threw the flag, and it's going to go against the Steelers. I think they just simply lined up offside.
I think that is going to be a very costly mistake because that was a big sack. It would have taken a lot of the air out of it. The Patriots.
Offside. 95 defense. Line it up in the neutral zone.
So Greg Lloyd lined up offside instead of 3rd and forever. It's now going to be 2nd and a yard.
You can see there, he's breaking the neutral zone. You've got to give the offense about a 6 to 8 inch buffer zone where you cannot encroach. Or a little overzealous.
7 times now over the last 2 games, the Steelers have been offside. 2nd and a yard. Ivy Joe Hunter doesn't get that yard. Stops short of the 40-yard line. Checking now the Hertz 10-minute ticker. It stays even at the Silver Dome. Now Chicago is starting to pull away from the New York Giants early in the second half. Washington maintaining that 2-touchdown lead over Phoenix. 5-3 in the 5th inning at Cleveland. Interleague play now in baseball. We didn't tell you about that earlier. And Minnesota up on top of San Francisco by 10.
You know, Joe, one of the interesting things is that Patriots, sometimes they run that offense out and just line up. Well, every time they've done that, except for once, it's been a deep pass. The Steelers got some rush on it, and it was a penalty.
3rd and inches. Leonard Russell barely got the handoff from Tommy Hodson. Just barely. And I don't know if he got enough for the first down. He was off balance every step of the way. Never really got control. And it will be 4th and inches. Timeout, and then they have confusion once they get things underway and can't pick up a first down on 2nd and 1 or 3rd and inches.
You'll see a good surge by the Pittsburgh Steelers front, stalemating right at the line of scrimmage and allowing those safeties and linebackers to fill. Russell never really had his balance, didn't have much of a chance.
Ryan Wagner punting it once again to Rod Woodson. Only one punt for Wagner in the first half. Woodson waiting back at the 15. Woodson will let it hit. It takes a New England bounce towards the sideline. Inside the 30 and out of bounds at the 28-yard line. For the Steelers will have it for the first time in the second half after only a 32-yard punt by Wagner. Tied at 6. The Steelers ready to go on offense. The U.S. basketball team in the Olympic Games. Tune in live next Saturday following Notre Dame football. Find out which pros are going to be selected to head the U.S. basketball team in Barcelona. Chuck Daly's dream team. So much speculation around it. Be there right after Notre Dame football for the announcement next Saturday. Brister throwing on 1st and 10. And has Dwight Stone wide open past the 40. Out to the 44-yard line. Bubby took a pop after he released that one. It looked like Brent Williams got him.
Well, Brent Williams a little bit tardy on his shot, but still, Brister able to get back. Watch him drift a little to his left. Back over the left guard. Low tackle. Set, fire. It's a good throw. Brister told us yesterday that he still doesn't feel so good after that opening day shot that he took from the Chargers.
He mentioned he was a little bit cloudy all the way through the middle of the week, and then he took a shot from Leonard Smith of the Buffalo Bills last week, and it brought back memories. Memories he didn't want to pick up on once again. 1st and 10 from the 44. Brister with the pump fake. Now the dump off. Barry Foster for another first down to the New England 45-yard line. So the coverage was there deep downfield, but underneath it was available to Foster.
Well, that shows what Brister has to do, and he can do it. There's no doubt in my mind about it. I've seen him throw some very, very nice footballs, and I've seen him look off coverages and go from one to another receiver. There you saw him try to go deep on the right side of the lips, looked it off, and threw back to his checked flare. Foster, number 29, for a good game.
Bobby was joking around with us and said with the way things are going for the Stanley Cup champion Penguins, the way they did last year, and the Pirates on their way to their second National League Eastern Division title, he said the pressure's on us. We can't afford to get off to another slow start.
You're afraid you're going to a place, Bubby, who?
8 minutes left in the 3rd. Late developing play. Foster wrapped up in the backfield. Chris Singleton, the outside linebacker, and a very quick one from Arizona in his second season with the play. And the play continues, unfortunately.
Barry Foster messing with Garen Barris, one of the big defensive ends for the Patriots. Kind of fight you don't want to get into very often.
A lot of second guessing of Chuck Noll last week on the use of Barry Foster. After all those big runs in the first half, Warren Williams came into the contest. They wondered why Barry Foster didn't stay in the game and why he only got 3 tries in the second half.
Well, his ankle was bothering him last week. I think he's just fine this week. I still think you're going to see an awful lot more of him pounding the middle.
They come out in a hurry. It's Merrill Hodge on 2nd and long, and that didn't fool anybody.
Well, we'll see here. Hodge setting in the back. Brister just brings it back on a sprint draw. The linebackers for the Patriots just collapse the middle, closing it down. We saw the Patriots shuffle in a new group of players. They're going to go to their double X package or their nickel defense. Watch for Andre Tippett putting his hand down on the line of scrimmage at the right side of the defensive line. Going to come very, very hard. He knows Brister wants to throw it.
3rd and 10 out of the shotgun. Brister puts Green in motion. And it's play action. Green's got it. And he hits the first down marker. He's bounced out of bounds short of it. Inside the 37-yard line, close to the 36. They're short by a yard and a half. And they're in that area where it may be a little bit too long for Gary Anderson. Did they send out Straczynski in the punting unit?
Well, last week against Buffalo, that was really their only effective offensive weapon was that bootleg pass across to the tight end. There, New England doing their homework got him stopped before he made the first down.
Playing it safe. They were burned on 4th and 1 at the 5-yard line of the Patriots. On 4th and a little more than a yard. They'll punt it away with Straczynski. Tries to get it to the corner. Instead, a very high one down the middle. Fryer calling for the fair catch. And it's put down by Hardy Nickerson at the 12-yard line. So the Patriots will have it for the second time offensively, but deep in their own territory. Still tied. It's tied at 6 with the Steelers. So far, Tommy Hodson hitting 50% of his passes. He really hasn't tried to air it out. Only one real deep ball. And now 7 of 14 so far. Brings them out 1st and 10 from the 12. In Leonard Russell. Out to the 14-yard line for a couple. 5 minutes, 40 seconds left in the 3rd quarter at Three Rivers. An opportunity to look at the Hertz 10-minute ticker. Still dead even in Detroit. Chicago maintaining their 10-point advantage while Washington got another touchdown against the 2-0 Phoenix Cardinals. And everything the same in Cleveland and Minnesota. As Philadelphia continues to surprise Dallas at Dallas, but Dallas, don't forget, coming off a very emotional Monday night loss to Washington. 2nd and 8 from the 14. Pump fake. Hodson dump off with Leonard Russell. One-on-one with Nickerson. To the sideline he goes. He's got the first down. He'll take that matchup all day long. One-on-one in the open field. Russell against the linebacker.
Hodson is making such smart decisions now. Last week he didn't make those kind of decisions. Now he's taking what the defense is giving him. If you can get your tailback one-on-one with an outside linebacker, you have got to take that choice. Here you see it goes back. He sees it right there. He knows he's got him over there in the flat. Now, give this big man a chance to work on Nickerson. There you see it, just a real nice little juke. Getting 14, 17 yards on one single little flip. Great choice.
1st and 10 of the 33. Russell's number called once again. He is popped. He is belted. Brian Hinkle, the first one in there. It's a loss. Back to the 31. Call it a loss of a yard now to the 32-yard line, bringing up 2nd and 11. I like what Tommy Hodson said, though, that last week they didn't maintain their poise when they made mistakes, and they had to remain confident this week, which they have done.
Well, he knows that maintaining your poise is just about as good as your running game is going at the time. Their defense for the Steelers, very, very tough. I think they're playing a lot better run defense. I think they're committing more people to stopping the run here in the second half. They made an adjustment.
2nd and 11. The ball on the 32. And Russell can't get out of the backfield. Very deep on the give. The Steelers stacking it. They wanted to force Tommy Hodson to throw the ball coming into the contest. Craig Vesey and Osofsky making that stop. Joe Green, one of the most disappointed after giving up 52 points going into the Pro Football Hall of Fame his first year back in '87. Chuck Noll said, though, I had to pick Joe back up. In fact, Chuck Noll told us he had to give the entire team a history lesson. Back in 1974, they started out at 0-4 and then went on to win the Super Bowl. It's early. Hodson in trouble. He's on his way down. Gerald Williams, the first one in there.
This is a big-time NFL pass rush play. Number 57, Gerald Williams, on the near side of your screen. Watch him. He'll put a little stutter step on Armstrong, one of the best left tackles in the league. Then an arm over swim. Then it's just a sprint to the quarterback. That was big time.
So one first down to get them out of that hole from their own 12, then the sack. And a punting situation for Wagner as they're coming. He barely gets it away. Woodson staying away from the wobbler. Another New England bounce. And Woodson making sure it didn't go any further, as David Poole wrapped him up inside the 30. So the Steelers still tied at 6. Get it back when we return at their own 29-yard line. It's already been a long day for Joe Walton, the offensive coordinator for the Pittsburgh Steelers. And Dan, what do they have to do to start to generate some offense? Because they haven't been all that bad between the 20s, but they stall once they get inside the New England 40.
Well, Brister just has to continue to make smart decisions. He hasn't done that every opportunity today.
Play action on 1st and 10 from the 29 has Dwight Stone open, and the ball batted away by Henderson, who got back in time, the rookie from Clemson. Hung up there a little bit as Stone, who got to about 2-3 yards beyond the defensive back.
But when the ball hangs up like that, it's usually going to be either a knockdown or an interception, so they got away pretty lucky. The thing is, Brister could have thrown the ball a little bit further, but more than anything else, he'll take his chances and go at 2nd and 10.
A couple of quarterbacks from the Bayou country going at it today. Bubby Brister and Tommy Hodson. That's where the comparison stops, though. Completely different styles. Brister 16 of 22 so far. Eric Green in motion. The pitch coming over as they try to seal off the left side with the help of the tight end. It doesn't work, though. Big defensive stand by the New England Patriots once again. At the end of a yard to the 30 for Hodge, and that is it. Vincent Brown over there.
Well, for the Steelers to be effective running the ball, they've got to have their offensive line clicking, blocking good. Here you'll see 86, Green, the big tight end, come back and then try to go ahead and wall Andre Tippett, one of the finest linebackers in the league, out. There, the interior people strung the ball out where Foster more or less just had to glide into Tippett. Green not doing a bad job, just not quite getting it done all the way.
Steelers were only 2 of 12 on third downs last Sunday at Buffalo, 0 of 7 on third down in passing situations. They're facing that right now. 3rd and 9 with flags on the play. The blitz is coming. There goes Brister. The first one that really got there, though, was the defensive back who came in on the outside, Mickey Washington. That busted up the pocket completely. And a flag is down, though, from the referee. It'll be declined.
Illegal motion. 33 offense. It's declined. 4th down.
Merrill Hodge called on the infraction.
Well, that's the thing Chuck Noll has repetitively told us. This offense cannot overcome mistakes. Sacks, turnovers, fumbles. The Steelers are not hitting on too many cylinders today. They're just not getting it done on offense.
Jerome Henderson waiting for the punt. Dan Straczynski, who's back close to his own goal line, almost bobbled the snap. Sends out a very high spiral. Henderson calling for the fair catch. He hangs onto it, and he does cleanly. They've got outstanding field position, their best field position to start a drive in the second half after that 47-yard boot by Straczynski. They've got it now 1st and 10 at the 38-yard line with 55 seconds left in the 3rd quarter. So a defensive battle going on. Bubby Brister in the offense just can't come through on 3rd down. But of course, Dick McPherson and the New England Patriots, as Chuck Noll continues to be frustrated by his offensive crew. The defense has turned it around a little bit. But Dick McPherson, they just want to play close to the vest. Have a chance in the 4th quarter, like Dick Corey was telling us earlier today, their offensive coordinator. The pitch for Leonard Russell. He doesn't get the block. He was trying to get the block on the outside from Pat Harlow, the rookie from USC, and it never developed. So it's a loss of a couple. Back to the 36. The 10-minute ticker. A field goal for Cleveland. A pitching change for Cincinnati. And a 10-point lead for Minnesota. Safeties, the order of the day in Green Bay as well. Now they force Hodson's hand. The last thing they wanted to do. 2nd and close to 13. Hodson with time. And a broken pattern as Thomas Everett in center field with the free safety intercepts it back at the 25. Pryor was the intended target, but he stopped around the 40-yard line. Everett still on his feet into New England territory. Down to the 48 of the Patriots. Well, they didn't want to force the hand of Hodson. They were asking their quarterback for the big play, and it didn't pan out.
I don't understand that call.
We'll discuss that situation when we return, Dan. End of the third quarter, still even at 6. We'll be right back after these messages from your local station. Be right back to Three River Stadium. And the wide receiver in the final play of the third quarter, Dan.
Well, here it looks like Hodson's throwing a deep post, deep down on the hash, where Fryer runs a deep crossing pattern, some 15, 20 yards shorter than where the ball came down.
First play of the fourth quarter, Barry Foster, who had negative yardage over his last 5 carries, gets it down to the 46-yard line. Turnovers. There have been plenty of turnovers between these two teams now. 2 fumbles by Pittsburgh, a fumble, and now an interception by New England. And those 2 covered by New England have led to all 6 of their points. It's tied at 6, and it's a 2nd and 8 at the 46 for the Steelers. Keep the potassium flowing. It is a hot day. Brister with the pocket holding up. Now starts to collapse, and Brister trying to dump it off to Foster. He did have his back in the area. Brown got in there with Brent Williams.
Well, it didn't look like any of his receivers uncovered. He was just trying to flip it out when the rush got to him. Looks like defensive holding against New England. That's why they couldn't uncover. The defensive players were, someone on defense was holding. It was Jerome Henderson, corner, holding there, not allowing Brister to go to his target.
2nd-round draft choice of the Patriots. Great speed, the rookie from Clemson. Didn't use his speed on that one, used his hands. And it's an automatic first down to the 41-yard line of the Patriots for Brister. Every time they get the ball in New England territory, though, they stall. Their last drive stalled at the Patriots 37. Lips in motion. Brister looking in that direction. Lips has it. Hurst couldn't keep up with the motion man. You can see Maurice Hurst get a late break on the line of scrimmage, trying to cut across the field.
Well, that's the thing that Joe Walton's offense tries to create. The motion creates indecision, mismatches, whatever, and it creates opportunities for the quarterback to throw the ball and throw it in a hurry. Here, you see the motion man trailing some 8-10 yards, could not get out there and stop Lips from getting the reception. That is what this offense does at its best. It hasn't been at its best all day.
2nd and inches. The ball just outside of the 31-yard line. Brister looking for Eric Green. Got behind Tippett. Green down to the 10. Is he in? Yes. Touchdown Steelers. Tight end on the linebacker Tippett, who did not get over in time.
Well, we talked earlier about how this offense was built around the tight end. It's only appropriate the tight end gets the first touchdown.
285-pound Eric Green, and now are they going upstairs to see if he possibly stepped out of bounds first?
Well, I know there's awful lot of little guys, defensive backs, bouncing off of his thigh pads.
By replay, it was ruled a touchdown on the field.
We'll see here. He just sinks in behind his zone coverage by Tippett. Now we're watching whether or not he is put. No, those guys are bouncing off of it.
From that angle, it appeared that he did stay in bounds.
After further review, the play stands. Touchdown.
Finally, a reason for celebration in the Steel City.
Please reset the clock for 25 seconds.
Crowd may be dragging a little bit. Temperature in the low 90s. Humidity around 90% as well. Fatigue not only a factor on the field, but in the stands as well. Gary Anderson for the point after out of the hold of Dan Straczynski. And the Steelers have the lead over the Patriots. The second touchdown toss of the season for Bubby Brister in game number 3. And they lead it by 7. Could not be flying at Three Rivers Stadium. I don't feel any breeze. I don't know about you, Dan Hampton. Welcome back to Pittsburgh. It's a 13-6 lead now for the Steelers. As Anderson is ready to kick it away, John Vaughn back deep along with Michael Timpson. 2 field goals, and that has been all from the New England offense so far this afternoon. Timpson, 5 yards deep, will stay right there on the advice of Vaughn. A wise decision. And they get it first and 10 to 20. It's still tied at Detroit. And the Giants finally get a touchdown. Drawing close to the Bears, Soldier. Washington building it up now on Phoenix. We look at the Fram 10-minute ticker. An 8-point advantage for the Browns. And still the Vikes by 10. First and 10 to the 20. It's Leonard Russell breaking the tackle to the line. Getting close to 4 to the 24-yard line. Well, maintaining their poise is a key now for Tommy Hodson and the New England offense. They are only down by 7 very early, almost 2 minutes into the 4th quarter. Don't try to get it back in a hurry and do something that is not advisable, a high-risk play.
Well, Dick Corey, their offensive coordinator, I think he's a very patient kind of guy. I think he knows he can't say, hey, Hodson, go out there and get us even again right now by yourself. He's going to go ahead and stick to his knitting, pound away, and let him throw the ball when he needs to or when they feel they can.
Leonard Russell again. Across the 25. It'll bring up third and still close to 5 yards. Gerald Williams, Aaron Jones there. Leonard Russell. The bulk of the work in the backfield. We saw John Stevens a little bit in the first half, but it's been the first-round draft choice. The second pick in the first round for the Patriots this year out of Arizona State. He's got 15 carries now. It's able to 33 yards. After 12 carries for 60 yards last week.
Well, it's 3rd and 4. The Patriots are expecting to throw the ball here.
Hodson has time, and he's got Irving Pryor for a first down. He got away from Carnell Lake. And Pryor refusing to go down across the 35. He's got more than enough for the first down. So a key play early in the 4th for New England. Little delay for Irving Pryor.
Well, pretty good protection for Hodson. He has time to get the ball to Fryer. Fryer tries to, looks like he's going to go ahead and run a quick slant, then turns back to the outside, shaking Carnell Lake off of him long enough to get the reception, getting the first down.
First and 10, the 37 for New England. 11.5 minutes remaining. Leonard Russell breaking tackles into the secondary. He's got a first down.
Down by little.
He's got the kind of power that lends to that home run threat. He can get into the secondary. And it's out close to mid. Started with it back to their own 20-yard line. Swinging Vaughn out of the backfield. Out of the hands of the wide receiver, Rob Carpenter, who they picked up. Former 4th-round draft choice of the Cincinnati Bengals. And you can't afford to drop the ball late in the 4th quarter.
Well, that's some of the things that they did last week. When they got close to Cleveland there in the 3rd quarter, they had some drops. 2 by Russell, some by the wide receivers. They cannot drop the ball in a situation like this. They've got to make this drive stand up to stay in the game.
29 carries for the Patriots. They wanted to run it 33-35 times. Originally, he wanted to go to John Vaughn out of the backfield, so that was actually a good look by Hodson going to the second option, the 3rd option actually. And now, they're 6 for 12 on 3rd down, and this is 3rd and long. Ball underthrown, coming back on it. It's Michael Timpson for the first down to the 37-yard line. And it was underthrown because the pressure coming on Tommy Hodson. As a flag is down, will it be a holding call on the Patriots?
It could be against right tackle Pat Harlow working out of the right side. We'll see what the call is. It looks like they are going to bring it back.
Holding 77 offense.
Oh, boy. Gerald Williams. Right here, Harlow, number 77, the offensive tackle. You'll see him go ahead and try to ride him down and just bulldog him down into the lower leg area of Hodson. He's got to grow up a little bit. That's not allowed in this league. He'll be called on that every time. He's a great prospect, but it's going to take a little bit of experience to keep him having to do that.
So instead of a first down at the 37 of Pittsburgh, it's now 3rd and 18 with the ball back on the 41 of New England. Hodson has to move away from the pressure, trying to buy some time, dumps it off to John Stevens. Stevens breaking tackles, but way short of the first down as he's down at the 49-yard line. So punting situation coming up for the Patriots when we return to Three Rivers, but first an update with Bob Costas.
Joel, the Lions have snapped the tie with the Dolphins at the Silverdome. Here's Rodney Peete. He'll barely get inside the flag on the 6-yard run, and then his momentum carries him near the railing, so he slaps 5 with some fans, and that, of course, will cost him under the new repressive NFL regime, which deems such things unthinkable. Let's go back to Joel.
Bob, I just wonder if that's a flag in Lithuania or Estonia. A punting situation for Wagner. Hard to believe some of these demonstration penalty flags. Woodson on the run, gets it outside the 20 to one of his feet across the 30. And a good return by one of the very best in the game, Rod Woodson, to the 32-yard line. Brought down by Carpenter, so Brister in the offense back out there with the Steelers up by 7 over the Patriots. In Pittsburgh, a 13-6 lead for the Steelers with a little bit better than 8.5 left in the contest. And a 1st and 10 for the Steelers in solid field position, their own 32-yard line. After a good return of close to 20 yards by Rod Woodson. Brister going one way, looking back the other way to Dwight Stone with a flag way back in the secondary. The pass good for only about 4 yards.
Brister looks so much more confident when this offense gets on track and starts clicking. He looks left, throws right. Just looks so much different when he feels like this offense is clicking.
Penalty going against the Steelers.
87 offense. Your first down.
Adrian Cooper, the reserve tight end, in on that play. Guilty of pushing off.
On the left side of your screen, you'll see 87 coming in, and he more or less slams the linebacker, and then, he's doing a defensive lineman technique of arm over, trying to get inside position. No.
I think somebody forgot to tell Cooper that wasn't a pick play over the middle. So a 10-yard mark-off. 1st and 20. Pressure coming on. Brister just got away from Brent Williams, and a wide-open Eric Green with a flag down on this side of the field away from the ball. As Green got just about 17 yards of the completion. But another flag in the secondary. And an automatic first down. A defensive holding call.
Well, the Patriots defense trying to get some kind of a feel of this game right now. The Steelers are having a way on that last drive, going ahead and getting a touchdown. Now they feel like they've got to make something happen. Getting out of position a little bit, maybe grabbing a hold of the receiver when they shouldn't.
Holding 37 defense. First down.
Maurice Hurst, the cornerback. Dick McPherson told us yesterday in the opener, the win over Indianapolis, they only had 1 penalty and 1 turnover. He said, we're not the type of team that can afford to have a lot of penalties and turnovers. Last week they had 8 penalties and already now 7 today. They're a very young offensive unit. This time the flag going against the defensive group, though.
Well, the coaches hate to see themselves shot in the foot by stupid mistakes, and that's the thing that'll kill you.
Automatic first down to the 27. Barry Foster zigzagging his way out to the 31-yard line for a gain of 4 yards. Right now on the sideline, they're working on the knee. The left knee of Eric Green, the regular tight end. That's why Adrian Cooper has been in there. And now with the passing situation coming up, Mills, the rookie wide receiver, the 3rd-round pick from Florida, enters the contest. lot of weight to carry on those knees. 285 pounds, second year out of Liberty. 82 yards on the ground for the Patriots compared to only 31 for the Steelers. Hodge, the only one in the backfield on 2nd and 6. Brisker, the short drop, the quick out, Lips has the big cushion on Ronnie LePet. And a first down across the 40 near the 42-yard line. We saw that on the film yesterday. They really worked on Washington and LePet, the Browns, in last Sunday's game.
Well, I think Pittsburgh felt like they could go ahead and turn these corners around if they went deep. But here, they have to respect Lips' speed. They give him a big cushion. Lips doing a good job just running a real quick square out, getting enough yardage to go ahead and move the chains. But it's hard for me to believe, Joel, that the Steelers are not able to run the ball this late in the contest with the lead. I felt like they could. Only being able to move the chains by those short intermediate passes, which I guess is what you have to do when they take all else away.
Short one to Dwight Stone. Good enough for another first down to the 47 of New England. Taking exactly what the Patriots are giving them, and the Patriots basically a zone team in the secondary.
Well, that's true, and that's the thing about the way Brister's playing here. He's got a very high completion rate. He's making some real good decisions, and as long as he does that, this offense will work. But I cannot believe they're able to throw the ball in those short intermediate zones and not be able to go ahead and start carving up some yardage in the middle. I'm sure they're going to try to do that before it's over with.
Clock working against the Patriots with only 5 minutes and 20 seconds remaining in the game. Pittsburgh with the ball on a 1st and 10, leading by 7, 13-6. You would think with the heat, that defensive front 7 would start to feel the effects now as Foster runs into Brister. And Garen Barris and a couple of others, Vincent Brown in the backfield, almost got him, slowed him down. And then they were cleaning up on the running back. Great job, though, again, by that front 7. They are staying in there, hanging tough.
Well, they're running the counter OT back against the strong side of the New England defense. Here, Brister runs square into the middle of his running back, Foster, destroying the timing of the play, never had a chance.
And with that last catch by Louis Lips, he has now moved into 2nd place on the all-time yardage list for the Pittsburgh Steelers, behind only John Stallworth. An injury to New England at a timeout on the field. 4:55 remaining. Patriots with 2 timeouts left. Steelers with all 3 and a 7-point Pittsburgh lead. A 7-point lead for the Steelers with under 5 minutes to play as Louis Lips is now 2nd on the all-time receiving yardage list for the Pittsburgh Steelers. And Louis was telling me, he said, when I was a rookie, I came in here and John Stallworth was one of the first guys to take me under his wing. He said, here I am trying to basically beat the guy out. I want to take his position, and he turned out to be one of my best friends when I came out as a rookie. And now second only to somebody who looks up to so much, John Stallworth, as Brister goes to Louis Lips. And he's got another short one on the completion to the 42-yard line. A gain of just about 6 yards. Make it 5 yards.
I think you're seeing Bubby gain an awful lot of confidence here in this offense here in the second half. He's making such quick, smart decisions. Anytime he tries to get a little extra time, he maybe gets a little bit hesitant. He's got to make those quick snap decisions, and you're watching him do it so well here in the second half.
Well, John Stallworth with a healthy cushion on Louis Lips. But some great names in the top 3. Stallworth, Lips, and Swan. Outstanding company for a class guy like Louis Lips. Dwight Stone in motion on 3rd. And just about 5.5, close to 6. Pressure on Brister. And short. Good pressure. Forcing the incompletion and another opportunity for the New England Patriots to draw even. They're only down by 7. Plenty of time. As Brzezinski and the punting unit coming onto the field. Well, when Brister ran into Foster on that first down give, everything started to break down offensively.
Well, I think this offense, much more than a lot of the offenses you see like Miami or Buffalo, they can't overcome mistakes, offsides, holding, drop balls. They've got to hit on all cylinders for it to be effective.
It's headed towards the corner. And a it goes out of bounds outside of the 10-yard line at the 11. So 89 yards to negotiate to tie things up for Tommy Hodson and the Patriots. Don't forget, coming up next, many of you will see the Buffalo Bills and the New York Jets. And out on the West Coast, others will see the Colts looking for their first win of the year. So the Raiders try to improve their record to 2-1.
Coach McPherson said yesterday, and we've stated this before, they wanted to stay close and have a chance to win at the end. Well, they've got a chance to tie anyway. We'll see what they do here on this, maybe their final drive.
It's at the Patriots' 11-yard line. The only touchdown of the day, that 31-yard pass to Eric Green. Hodson with pressure and belts it over. Keith Willis with a major league shot on Tommy Hodson.
He's stunned. He is in a different area code right now.
Willis, the veteran, the old man up front, in his 9th year from Northeastern.
You can see him right here on the beating Harlow with a quick arm over on the inside pass rush move. Harlow has got to realize he has got to make sure he doesn't give the inside away. That's the quickest route to the quarterback here, 93. Arm over inside. No one feels worse than the rookie Harlow.
It goes back to what Dick Corey said. They're a much better run-blocking unit than pass protection unit.
Exactly.
Timeout is called by New England.
I don't think Hodson knows where he's at right now. He's got one eye that looks at Fort Worth and one eye that looks at Dallas. They better get someone in there for him.
Correction. That is New England's second timeout.
So New England, with only one timeout remaining, looking at a 2nd and 20 with the ball back inside their own 1. He's looking to see if there's any teeth in that mouth guard.
Well, you'll see him take just a frontal assault by Willis. Now, Hodson, he's a big enough guy to play in this league, but he's not the type of quarterback that, I mean, you cannot stand up to a defensive lineman at full speed blast like that unless you got 230, 40 pounds on you, like Marino or Kelly, maybe Elway. He's not that big and strong. He can't take a shot like that and just shake it off.
But Joe Green wanted to make sure that his defensive linemen weren't coming in with a party atmosphere on their mind. They have been getting into the backfield of the Patriots with much more effectiveness in the second half. Don't forget those second games coming up, the Bills and Jets, the Colts and the Raiders. The second half of our NBC doubleheader action on this 3rd Sunday of the season.
Well, it looks like Willis just put his party hat on the quarterback.
3:34 left. 2nd and 20. Throwing from his own end zone. Hodson going deep for Irving. Pryor. Oh, Pryor almost made an incredible grab.
That is impressive for Pryor to go ahead and make a play like that against double coverage. That was very close. Hodson, great wherewithal. Go ahead and throw the ball right where he has to throw it. Here, Pryor coming back underneath the corner, trying to get his hands in position. Get that left hand up. It was fine coverage, but just great athletic ability by Pryor. Almost makes a perfect play.
3rd and 20. They're on their feet at Three Rivers. Timpson. And it's incomplete. Johnson very close to making contact early. Did the quarterback get there a little bit too quickly?
Well, it's a judgment call by the official. We'll look here and see if Johnson looks like he does get over the back a little bit prematurely, but not here in Pittsburgh today.
Rod Woodson outside of his own 40 as they got pressure again for Joe Green on Tommy Hodson. And now without enough room really to punt. Brian Wagner in the back line of the end zone. The high snap is brought down. And it's blocked. It's blocked. And it's covered for a touchdown by Mills. like Wagner, more than pressure, just didn't have enough room. His own man.
He kicks it into the back, into the hamstring of his up back. Unbelievable. Eugene Lockhart back there to protect for him. He kicks the ball into his posterior. The end.
A 14-point lead for Pittsburgh.
That's the thing about getting the quarterback sacked right at the goal line or on the inside the 5. The punter doesn't have room to operate, kicks the ball into Lockhart. Lockhart maybe should have been a little bit closer to the line of scrimmage. It's hard to say. But either way, it spells disaster.
And Wagner at the same time, though, former punter for the Cleveland Browns, he's experienced enough to know, and he's got to be aware of his teammates on the field. He's got to go over to the left side then.
Well, you'd think that he could make an adjustment and kick it more over the left guard rather than straight down the middle like he normally does. But that's the thing you're going to have with a young team like New England. McPherson said if only they could stay close late in the game and have a chance to win, then he would be happy. Well, they were close late, but the rookie offensive lineman lets a sack occur. Next thing you know, the punter has the ball blocked for a touchdown. They were close, but it never materialized for them.
Now the Pittsburgh Steelers on their way to a 2-1 record. They've got the Philadelphia Eagles next Sunday at Veterans Stadium. If they can top the Eagles, they get off to that 3-1 start with a bye the following week, and that would be their best start since 1985. Last year they got off to a 1-3 beginning. Anderson making Timpson take it in and out of the end zone. An update now on the Fram 10-minute ticker. Miami getting a field goal, down by 4 in the 4th, and Chicago clinging to a 3-point lead late in the 4th. Washington doing a number on Phoenix, who will fall to 2-1 now. Close affair in Cleveland, and also a tight one in Minnesota. Philadelphia's had their way all day long at Dallas. And a pitcher's duel in Green Bay. Hodson out of the shotgun. Flags into the air. The dead ball foul coming up on New England. That'll be their 8th penalty.
Ball starts. 78 offense. Prior to the snap.
So 8 penalties last week, 8 penalties this week,
Please reset the clock.
and probably the longest afternoon of the career from USC to New England now for rookie Pat Harlow. Loss of 5, first and 15.
To 3:12.
They're trying to get 3 seconds back on the clock.
This is a tough spot for Hodson to be in right now, being down and knowing that Pittsburgh's pass rush is coming after him.
Please reset the clock to 3:12. Thank you.
We asked Tommy Hodson about leadership on the offensive unit. He said, this is a very young group. Irving Pryor is one of the old guys, and he's only 28 years old. So there's not a lot of experience on the offensive side of the line. Hodson looking for Timpson, wide the intended target.
Craig Vesey having a little discussion with Harlow.
World Affairs, I know. This telecast is presented by authority of the National Football League and is intended for the private use of our audience. Any rebroadcast or other use of this telecast without the express written consent of the Pittsburgh Steelers and the NFL is prohibited. This game is the property of the National Football League, the New England Patriots, and the Pittsburgh Steelers. All rights reserved. 3:08 remaining. 2nd and 15 at the 15. The Patriots down by 14. Hodson overshooting his man. No. Pryor. Good vertical across the 20 to the 21. But only 6 on the reception.
Well, after last week's disappointment, I think when Joe Green came out and spoke so profoundly about what he thought the defense needs to do to get ready, I think they thought he was E.F. Hutton because they listened. And they played a heck of a game today on defense here in Pittsburgh.
Hodson had the ball batted away from his man Timpson. Pass the 35. It would have been enough for the first down. It'll be a fourth down in a punting situation as Hodson took another shot once again. It's only the 9th career start for Tommy Hodson in his second year out of LSU. Hugh Millen is the backup quarterback. Millen, former Los Angeles Ram, then went on to Atlanta. Spent 3 seasons with the Falcons, a Plan B signing. So that question will be brought up once again. Will it be Hodson or will it be Millen next week for New England?
I don't think Hodson played poorly. I think it was just one of those things when he was having to make a big play, he couldn't respond. That's not their offense for him to make big plays every time.
Rod Woodson with a low-line drive returnable type. Woodson to the sideline. And just barely tripped up by the punter. Wagner got him. And Wagner is down. So is Woodson at the 31-yard line. And also down for the Patriots, John Vaughn, the reserve running back.
We'll see Woodson here take the ball, get a good kick-out block there, and then just go down the sideline. That's what the great returners do. They know where their blocking is. They follow it. Now watch Wagner. He's trying to make a play, get this guy down at all costs. Looks like he was kicked in the head there, Joel.
Knee to the helmet. A 40-yard return for Rod Woodson after a 50-yard punt, but it was a low-line drive punt by Wagner.
Well, I just hope everyone in New England isn't taping their ankles up right now, getting ready to jump off the bandwagon, because this man right here has done a great job of rebuilding respect on this team. And even though it's gone pretty bad here the last 5 or 6 minutes, I still think that he's on the right track with the Patriots.
Well, there's a pride factor involved, and it appears from talking to so many of the Patriots and the coaching staff yesterday that the pride is there once again, that attitude that you need to win the NFL. First and 10 at New England's 31-yard line. Merrill Hodge on the sweep. Flags down on the play. As Hodge gets just about 8 on the carry. It'll go against the Steelers. And it stops the clock with 2:15 remaining.
Well, the turning point in the game was when Hodson
Holding.
So we get
89 offense. Still first down.
It's on Ernie Mills, the wide receiver, who picked up that punt in the end zone for the touchdown.
Well, the turning point to me was when Hodson tried to force the ball deep, and they had the mess up with Irving Fryar on the route, and Pittsburgh got the ball back. They went right down and scored, and from there, it looks like the Steelers were in control of the game. But you have to admire New England. They're a young team. They stuck to their knitting pretty long, and they almost had a chance to stay in this thing to the end.
First and 20. Hodge again gets the call. A flag from the secondary. Goad and Barris in on the stop. And Neil O'Donnell waiting for his opportunity. He was sensational during the preseason for the Steelers.
Holding. 63 offense. Still first down.
That's the center, Yermonte Dawson.
First down and 28.
So a couple of holding calls against Pittsburgh, the wideout and now the center. And it's first and just about 30. Call it first and 28 back at the 49. Hodge on the final play. That takes us to the 2-minute warning. So 2 minutes remain at Three Rivers Stadium in Pittsburgh. The Steelers are on their way to a 2-1 mark. The Patriots will fall to 1-2. Play of the game, and it was after the turnover, the interception by Everett, the touchdown pass to Eric Green. And that was the turning point of the game. They took over the ball at the 48-yard line of the Patriots, and 2 plays later, that was our Canon camcorder replay of the game. Eric Green on the touchdown reception of 31 yards from Bubby Brister. as Brister is throwing on 2nd down and 26. The screen for Warren Williams. Stays in bounds, and Williams will pick up the first down. He's inside the 20 to the 18 of New England. Monty Dawson with a good block out in front, the center on that screen.
That was a great call. Surely the Patriots were expecting Pittsburgh just to go ahead and pound at them. When Brister runs play action, they're thinking, oh my God, let's get back deep. Then you run the slip screen to the weak side. Great play action. Great play call.
14-point lead for the Steelers. The executive producer of NBC Sports is Terry O'Neill. The coordinating producer of NBC's football, John Faratzis. Pictures, some good ones today, provided by our producer, Glenn Adama. And our director, John Gilmartin. Our associate director, Dick Ellis. And our production associate, Bill Herbstman. Barry Foster inside with 15 to the 13. As the clock continues to roll. Only one timeout remaining for the Patriots, down by 14. Coming up next, our twin bill action. Doubleheader today on NBC, the Bills and the Jets. Most of you will see that one. Others will see the Colts and the Raiders at the Coliseum in Los Angeles. And thanks to our great crew up in the booth, Tim Fogarty, Mike McGinley, George Jordan, and DJ Wilson. You always make it easy for us when we come to Three River Stadium. Second and 5, the ball at the 13. The counter for Barry Foster. And he's got another first down inside the 8.
There's Joe Green, the defensive line coach, who came out pretty strong this week, criticizing the team's attitude. I don't know, Joel. I think maybe we can downgrade his attitude from critical to stable for this next week's game.
Well, Chuck Knowles said Joe takes those losses pretty hard.
Good to see him smile.
He had to pick them back up after last week's loss where they gave up 52 points to the Buffalo Bills. But Joe said, we're mediocre. And that's not from me, that's from the record. We're 9-7 last year, a mediocre season because of the record the year before. And we've got to do something about it now, or it's going to be another mediocre year. Very outspoken before the start of this week's game. At the outset of the preparation period for the Pittsburgh Steelers. So they did wake up, and the defense came through against the New England Patriots. So the Steelers are now 2-1. They beat the Eagles next week at 3-1 with a victory there. It would be their best start since 1985. A 14-point win for the Steelers over the Patriots. Right after this break, it'll be Bob Costas and NFL Live. Once again, that final score, a 20-6 win for Bubby Brister and the Steelers over the Patriots. We'll be back with more of NFL Live and Bob Costas right after these messages from your local station.